My husband's ex died. He spent so much time mourning and crying. I retrained him from going to her funeral, and he's the angriest I've ever seen. I sucked it up and went along. I resented every moment of knowing her, especially when we had to be social. She understood some part of him I couldn't. Her husband was also friends with mine, so it's not like I could use him as an angel. He'd have lunch with the ex, they'd go to their geeky movies, and whatever. The few times I brought it up, he said, "We had this conversation before. You had your chance to back out." She died after they had lunch the other day on the way to her car. He spent a bunch of time crying, but honestly, I was relieved. He was working with her husband on funeral planning. I told him, "You don't think you're going, do you?" My argument, summed up, she's dead, so she's not a factor anymore. He doesn't get to use his "she's my friend" excuse since she doesn't exist anymore. He had his cry for a couple of days. He gets to be done with mourning her already. There's no need for him to go to her funeral since I wouldn't want her at his. He was the angriest I've ever seen him when I told him that, replying that he'll be going no matter how I feel and that he's willing to burn this to the effing ground while holding up his wedding band. Besides you, she was the closest friend in my life. He, her husband, and my sisters are calling me an insensitive a-hole over this, all saying that there was no romantic aspect to their relationship and that I'm heartless. Her husband went so far as calling me a ghoul for how I've reacted. I never felt the relationship was appropriate, and I hid that for years because I wanted to be with my husband. Now that she's gone, I don't feel I should have to hide it anymore and can speak freely.